Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. I know it's baseball season around here and it's opening day, but I got a guy here that blends baseball and football deftly out there in the Queen City of Cincinnati, Ohio, as Earl Weaver once called, and I'm sure we'll call it again here in the BuyAToyota.com audio vault as we present Oriole Hall of Famers for opening day, because we don't have much of a season, but this guy is a Red Sox fan, but a coverer of all things Bengals. Been doing it a long time out there in Cincinnati. He's been my friend. Geoff Hobson joins us from Bengals.com just in time for Red Sox season and Bengals draft season. And I'll begin this with you because we always begin our conversations with Marvin. There is life after Marvin in Cincinnati, I'm hearing, correct?
Well, there is. I got to say, it's nice talking to the guy who covers the first place Orioles. This is just like how This is just like how I grew up. I'm asking how many games were we behind Baltimore, just like it was in the 60s.
Yeah, well, enjoy that for the 2 or 3 days that it might last at this point. We know these things are going in different directions. For the Bengals, let's start with that. And I'm going to get some baseball in because I always talk baseball with you, Geoff. But for the Bengals, I was in Arizona. You were there. We sort of crossed paths, but I was busy. You're busy doing our thing. I didn't even meet the new coach. I mean, it's kind of strangely enough, but I don't know that I would have recognized him, right? So there's the first part of who is this guy, and the second part for you, which is just major changes after someone's been there and a powerful figure and a well-liked figure and a respected guy for a long, long time. There's a new era in Cincinnati, so it's all new, and I guess there's part of that makes it fun for a guy like you, right?
Well, it's fun. It's also a little sad, too, because I remember what Marvin did here 16 years ago. If Zach Taylor can do half of what Marvin did in turning this thing around, it'll be successful. Because when they went to find a successor to Marvin, they said, we'd like to find a guy like Marvin, and he, so that's the thing too, is a little bit of sadness to it too, but, and you're exactly right, 16 years, it's a huge shadow on the face of the franchise, and, Zach Taylor knows that he has to let the players know that there's a difference, that there is a change and there's a difference, and they've gone so much as they've done a huge renovation of the locker room and the coaching facilities. I mean, they've pretty much renovated completely the coaching offices. They now have the biggest coaching staff in Bengals history with 23, and they're making some changes. They're making changes to the locker room. So I think Zach knows that he's stepping into some big shoes, and he's got to show right away that this is that there's a new deal in town.
Yeah, we have a change here with Ozzie Newsome, and yet Ozzie was, at the pool last week at the Biltmore, as you saw on the competition committee and stuff. I always saw Marvin as being somewhat emeritus there. I didn't think it would be you're fired, get out, I don't want to be here, I'm leaving. I thought it would be something more like a push sideways or upstairs or into special advisor or into something like that. And that was my vision, clearly. I mean, maybe it wasn't Marvin's, maybe it wasn't Mike Brown's, but how did it end as you sort of see it or saw it you're on the inside of it. I mean, did it end the way you thought? We're sort of clean break. Marvin's calling football games out in the desert?
Yeah, I don't think Marvin's an emeritus kind of guy. Eventually, he may be, when he's 70, maybe, but I mean, he's only 60. It strikes me like he still wants to coach. I really got that at the end of last season when he took over as a defensive coordinator. I think he got a little bit of hunger. I think maybe been a little bit rejuvenated when he did that, and so I think he wants to get back in it. And I'm not sure he would have been comfortable watching things on the side, and I'm not sure that they would have been comfortable to have a guy with Marvin's presence in this team, kind of in the, if you're going to make a break, make a break. But there's no question Marvin's going to be on banners here, and he's going to be, he's one of the great figures in Bengals history. So. But I just don't think either side is ready for that yet. I think, like I said, I think Marv still has some coaching to do.
Geoff Hobson is here from Cincinnati, and it's interesting. I have not had a conversation with Marvin since the season ended. I mean, we misconnected in Arizona. He's doing the football games and whatnot. I don't even know for you to say that you still think he's not done coaching, you know more about it than I do at this point, and that's fascinating. Well, man, just from a comment standpoint. That's a gut. That's fine.
gut.
That's a fine gut, and I wouldn't even say that's wrong because he didn't win.
Gut. It's a big gut. But I don't know. I just think it's hard for me to see Marvin being on it.
No, well, fair enough. But for Zach and for the new regime and for what it is, and the Vontaze Burficts and the Pac-Man, there's not a whole lot left, right? I mean, the last couple of years with the O-line going and the veteran D guys going and contracting out and whatnot, that administration had ended, and unlike here, man, we got Harbaugh and almost nobody else, right? Like literally, Flacco, Suggs, we got rid of the players instead of the coach, right?
Yeah, well, I think here there's enough of the nucleus. I think because there's been a lot of changeover, but mainly in coaching, Nestor. And you're right about the offensive line. That big, if you're looking at that 2015 team that won the division, Marvin's best team went 12-4. There's not a lot of guys on defense from that team, but offensively. You've got 2 1,000-yard receivers in Green and Boyd. You got Dalton, who's a proven winner, and you got a healthy Tyler Eifert, and you get the AFC rushing champion, Joe Mixon. Pretty good nucleus offensively, and defensively, they were able to retain Darqueze Dennard, which gives them 3 first-round corners, and last year they were able to re-sign Dunlap and Atkins. So. Now, they need help badly at linebacker, no question about it. But defensively, this is a rush-and-cover league. They need some help, but, they got guys that can rush and they got guys that can cover. So, but you better stop the run, too, because, and that's kind of what they're dealing with at linebacker. They don't, that's why they re-signed Preston Brown, kind of your traditional middle linebacker. They're in a division with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens just picked up a hell of a back. I think Greg Roman is a terrific X and O guy. Guy, by the way, who spent his young years at Wilmington College watching Paul Brown's teams practice. And I think Roman's a terrific. The thing I like about Roman is he runs the ball. He's committed to it. So this defense I think is going to have to be. Baltimore I think is. I think with some of the moves they made on defense, you got to put them there as I think Roman is going to make them. They'll be very good on offense. John does a great job getting everybody together. I think they're wrong in handing this thing to Pittsburgh. I think this is a 9. I think all 4. I think it's a 9-win division, and I think all 4 teams got a shot. First team to 9 get there. Nobody's looking at the Bengals. Everybody's looking at the Browns. And nobody better sleep on the Ravens and the Steelers.
Well, it's fascinating because, having been around all the writers and having people on this week and going around, it's all Cleveland, right? I mean, Harbaugh was almost laughing at it at our table because everyone was coming over and asking him about the new dominance of the Browns, and we're all kind of shrugging our shoulders at the Baltimore table. And I'm thinking they're probably shrugging their shoulders at the Pittsburgh table. And I'm thinking, well, everybody's pissing on Cincinnati, right? No Marvin and teams turn. Cincinnati's got to be the worst team. And I'm thinking to myself, don't get the skis out ahead of yourself literally on any of these teams because I'm not high on Cleveland and I'm not low on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, right, exactly right. Well, Nestor, you've been around this division long enough. How many times on each side of the ball have we seen just our teams win games they shouldn't have won in this series? And it happens. That happens with division rivals. And
I can't talk trash with the Bengals because the Bengals just destroyed the Ravens. I mean,
and the Ravens have beaten the Bengals in many big games. And it's the same thing with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. So I think Cincinnati. Cleveland came in here. Cleveland never swept Marvin until last year, and they acted like they beat the Steelers. And I'm thinking, this is a Cincinnati team that's got 15 guys on injured reserve. You might want to be reserved. You know what I mean? Because this is a division. This is a division where the minute you think you've got it, somebody knocks you off somewhere.
Well, yeah, except if you're the Steelers, kind of, sort of, sometimes. I mean, you guys have had your problems with them. He is Geoff Hobson. He is out in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing all things Bengals.com and covering the new look Cincinnati Bengals, as well as the rest of the AFC North. But all eyes are on your Tony Conigliaro black eye out on Twitter and where you are with the Red Sox. So I would let you expound upon this. I mean, this is really sad times in Baltimore. I mean, you know, you had a little poke and some fun, and you talk about acting like you've been there before, and certainly the Orioles hijinks of dousing the manager and the pitcher over the weekend at Yankee Stadium. I would think the Yankees will remember that somewhere along the line, whether it's good or bad. It's baseball, and the rules are all unwritten, as you know. But this is, you know, the Red Sox world again on the backside of what they did last year. And I guess the rest of baseball is trying to catch up. We're still trying to get a scorecard, right, on Manny Machado and Bryce Harper and where these guys are going. And there's a lot of new things about baseball, including all the things they're trying to ram down the throat for changes and whatnot. But I expect the Red Sox to win 100 games this year. I just do.
Can you imagine F. Robbie participating in that stuff over the weekend? Frank Robinson?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Frank would have gone for any of that. But I think that the Red Sox, I mean, you know, it's ingrained in a Red Sox fan. You're always worried about the pitching, you know, and the bullpen worries me because obviously Kelly and Kimball are gone. And then you worry about that, and they can't get out of the third inning, you know. I mean, so and the one starter that they haven't had a well-pitched game from a starter, and the one guy who hasn't started is the guy with all the question marks, Price.
I saw Price pitch out in Arizona last week. I was at the Tuesday. I saw you on the way. I invited you because you're a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I know.
I got work to do. I got work to do. As you. So,
how did Price look? How did he look, Nasty?
Well, they got punched around. Look, man, it was preseason garbage, dreck, awful. You know, I mean, you're barely. I mean, they're trying to swing and get out of there. I mean, literally, right? Like they landed and they're on their way to Seattle to play a real game. It was more like hasty baseball, quite frankly, till they kicked it around. But I did have
nothing worse than a getaway. There's nothing worse than a getaway game in spring training.
Hobby, I got to tell you, this is the reason you should have gone with me, okay? So, first off, a nice man handed my wife a free ticket, which was very nice. We bought another ticket for $20, which was nice. It was nice going to a game where tickets were $80 each online, and I got in for $20. So we went down. It was beautiful. Out in center field at Sloan Park, they had a special autograph thing going on. So sitting at the table, because it was Cubs and Red Sox, Andre Dawson was there, and Bob Dernier was there, and Bill Buckner was there, which I'm sure you would appreciate. I mean, there were some greats. Fergie Jenkins was there. Willie Wilson from the Royals was there. But the guy, Lee Smith was there, Hall of Famer Lee Smith. But the guy I wound up talking to, and I know you're going to appreciate this, because I have his autograph in that 1973 baseball from the Boston Red Sox that my uncle, my cousin Luis Aparicio got for me. Bill the Spaceman Lee.
Oh, jeez, that's tremendous. William Francis Lee III.
Bill Lee and I had a long-spirited conversation that included him giving me his home phone number. He does not have a cell phone. He does not have email. None of that. But he said anytime I call him, he would love to come on and talk baseball with an Aparicio, and that's the way he said it. And I thought, you know what? That's the freaking spaceman there, and that's what you missed out on doing your job last week in Arizona.
Man, I'll tell you what. Everybody loved Louis on that team, you know. Yaz was one of the great pranksters. He and Louis would go at it all the time.
Well, I would think, Louis got hot-footed by Mo Drabowski. I witnessed one of those a little later in life. It was frightening. I was probably about 20 at that point. So, I mean, Louis was the guy that got short-sheeted and all that stuff. So there was a lot of shenanigans, I think, that went on,
That's what I think. I think Bill Lee wrote this in his book. Was when Louis went back to Venezuela, every time he went home, it was like a hero coming home. I mean, it was like the president. It was like the president of the country coming home. And so Yaz cut his tie, cut his clothes up, and threw away his suitcase or whatever. So I don't know how Lee said. I don't know what Louis looked like getting off the plane, but. But that's what a great hero he was, in his home country.
He is Geoff Hobson. He's a hero in his home country of Cincinnati, Ohio, and doing all things Bengals out there, as well as watching baseball. Anything baseball you want to say that's global about shifting or switching, or the way they've treated the players here lately? And you and I have lived through all these wars. You've covered them, Bobby. Players Association. I mean, the NFL's going to have its own problems with the knee and with Colin Kaepernick and all that. But the baseball thing is, there's a level of vitriol that takes me back to two words named Marvin and Miller, right?
Yes. Yeah. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can have a limit on pitchers. I don't know how you can prevent shifting. That's so much a part of the game. I mean, it's ingrained in the game. And I just, it's kind of a different game already, but not as badly as they want to make it. It's just, I think we're, and I don't know where the players are on this, but I just, Well,
we're old guys that eschew everything, but we had to adopt the DH. You know what I mean? Like, my dad still couldn't come to grips. He died not coming to grips with the DH. But he enjoyed it, enjoyed American League Baseball, but liked the fact that there were two leagues.
I don't mind that. I don't mind the DH. I mean, I don't mind the DH, but just the organic, and I guess some of the old timers. Well, I mean, you don't get any older than me, but when I was a kid, a lot of the old timers didn't like the DH, but I grew up with it. But to me, now I'm an old timer. The stuff that I think is untouchable is stuff like shifting and stuff like a manager being able to use as many pitchers as he wants whenever he wants. So I guess it just we just get older, and pretty soon in 50 years they'll be bitching about something else.
He is Geoff Hobson. You won't be bitching about anything except the Yankees this summer, and we did him dirty, and maybe we'll do him dirty again here this weekend before it's all over with. Hobby, always a pleasure to see you, catch up with you. I wanted to get a little Cincinnati view. I'm trying to give everybody a little AFC North here this week, give them a little flavor before the draft, and I'm sure I'll check in with you. And by the time I check in with you, the Orioles will be firmly ensconced in what I call last place, but on Masson, the television network, they call it fifth place here. That's what they call it.
Well, let's see what happens. When you track down Marvin, tell him I said hello.
Love Marvin. Love you. Appreciate you, Hobby. There he goes, Geoff Hobson. Bengals.com. You can find him. He's a Red Sox fan. Don't hold it against him. It's not his fault they win, and we don't. I'm out in the buy at Toyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. Just download. We're there. The kids call it podcasting these days. We call it WNST. Got a lot of stuff going on here this week with WrestleMania, with opening day. I thought it would be great to sort of unearth some cool old stuff. So I got a lot of old Hall of Fame stuff with Oriole players, or Weaver, Mike Messina. Some of it you may have heard last week. Putting it up in the buy at Toyota.com audio vault, as well as WrestleMania. So a little wrestling, little opening day, a little Final Four. Certainly going to get some football in here, as I just did. Lots of football stuff and NFL draft stuff, including Brian Baldinger, a bunch of my friends up in the buy a Toyota.com audio vault. We are launching Baltimore Positive soon, so hang in there for that. I'll be telling you more about that if you're subscribing to us on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or Snapchat. And wherever you are, you will hear about Baltimore Positive, and you'll hear about all that stuff. You can always email me, nasty@WNST.net. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. Happy opening day. Happy spring. Happy Final Four. We never stop talking Baltimore sports.